The first question, in your scripture, is there any record about the plan or goal of the Creator or enlightened divine being for believers? So to begin, Shaktini ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you can take your time.
Harion, thank you so much. Can you listen to me properly?
Yes,
Yeah,
very
okay.
clear.
Thank you so much to Mr. Anurag Chabra, Mr. Daniel Bacena, Mr. Faisan Anwer. It was very knowledgeable answer. I really appreciate. I was enjoying actually the answering. And as Mr. Anurag Chabra and me, we were dealing with the same point of view of Hinduism. I would like to appreciate all what he was exposing and recognize that exactly this is what is written in the scripture. And he mentioned about the Rig Veda, which is the recognized as the oldest scripture in our tradition. And just taking from the side, he was giving an overview. I would like to continue or giving another view for make it simple so we can join and collaborate. Um, exactly that is what our scripture is saying, that we from dualism and non-dualism, Advaita and Dvaita vision, we think and we believe there is an ultimate truth, an ultimate being, there is an ultimate reality to be joined to. How we join with that, how we realize that reality, it makes the two difference of these two perspectives, these two vision of a dualism or not dualism. The thing is that, as very well explained by Mr. Chabra, uh, Brahma become into expression. But when we talk about Brahman, we said that there is he is an ultimate truth, and we cannot say even he. The English make me this difficulty to explain. It's easier in Sanskrit because in Sanskrit we say tat. Tat has no gender. Tat means that thing who has no quality, who has no feature. So whenever Brahman, and he was explaining, is this Nirguna and Saguna Brahman, with quality, without quality. So whenever Brahman becomes into expression, when if we want to think like God as Brahman, but for us in Hinduism, Brahman go beyond that, this God that in Semitic tradition used to have of someone with a face, with a body, with feature, with quality. See, Brahman means just existence itself. Brahman is in everything. So whenever it is in the phase of expression, we talk about Saguna Brahman, then is when the Prakriti, as very well explained before, become into manifested. When it is manifested, the Rig Veda say Agni Mile Purohitan, then it starts to say, then the fire, and start to talk about all the elements, all the tattvas. Tattva means elements, are starting to express. That means the world that we appreciate with the senses started to be created. But before that, it was already existence of divinity. It was already there. And whatever comes from this divinity, it is itself the divinity. That means every single element in this perceptual world is God itself. That is the root of our tradition, of our confession. So then the tattvas, the elements start to manifest, and then the prakriti, the nature, appear. What's the prakriti? When we talk about prakriti, we mean about the river, sea. Our gods normally are related to the mountains, to the rivers, to the flowers, to the nature. So it's always referring to natural elements. So then when the prakriti start to manifest, then is when the physical body appear, when the senses started to have power to interact. This is very well explained in the Tattva Bodha. Is one of the Prakarana Granthas that Adi Shankaracharya wrote to explain about that. He was an Advaitin, non-dualist vision, but the master of the reformer of the non-dual vision, the tradition to which I belongs to. So all this expression is there. If we want to talk about a plan of God, we could say that let's understand what is God itself. What are we talking about what is God itself? And then see that in the Prakriti, there is always a dualism expressed. And that's why we talk about I have the vision of dualism, I have the vision of non-dualist. but it's rooted in the same reality, same truth, but different vision. So in the nature, there is a dual is always there. We cannot avoid that. And then we can talk, we can frame what is the topic of this meeting today, the evilness and the deviness. I don't know if you could say that in English. The divine nature and evil nature. These two natures is always expressed in everything in nature. I mean, even a human being has these two nature in himself. Everything in this existence, in this Saguna Brahman, is influenced by these two nature. But in our belief, in our confession, we believe that these two sides belongs to God too. So, and I know in Christianism, I have a background of Christianism, even the demons are sons of God, are angels that fail because they failed, they had a different opinion about God, and they have a kind of a conflict with their father. So they are also sons of God. They are creatures created by God, and these have these two natural interaction. So we will always find this, coming back to the Hindu interconfession, you will always find this duality expressed in everything: day and night, life and death, jealousy and compassion, coldness and heatness. There is love and hate. These are qualities of this existence. The thing is that what is the plan of God? I could not say if there is a plan of God, but I can say that this is the time. We need all these features, we need all this world, sensorial world, to use it to overcome our karma, what link us to that world, to this existence, overcome all of this, overcome these two dualities, even what we think that is very good and what we think is very bad, overcome these two to realize that there is an ultimate truth beyond all of these two dualities. So this is the interconfession, this is the vision of Hinduism. I thank you very much to Chabra because he has exposed it very clearly. I mean, the proper topic, so I can walk around from that. And that's my answer for this question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it is really nice to have two panelists from the same belief, Hinduism, and I can see how there's also agreement and even coordination as well. So, as a continuation, our Shaktini ma'am talk about how dualism and non-dualism, irrespective of these two visions, their truth is one. And she also explained about how the elements began to create, but before that, there has been always the existence of the divinity. So, to understand the purpose of creation, we have to understand the plan of God, and to understand the plan of God, God itself has to be understood first, and in its nature, we can see the dualism. So, like the dual nature of divinity and evil, it all this same trait, these two opposites exist in everyone, even in God Himself. So, what is important for a believer is to overcome the dualities and be with the ultimate truth. So, this is we could hear from the perspective of Hinduism. So, from question number one, yes, we have discussed about how the scriptures also record about the purpose of creation by the Creator. And as we keep on answering about the following questions, yeah, let's also try to figure out more things in detail. So let's move on to the second question. In your scripture, is there any record about enemies or evil beings that hinder the plan or goal not to be achieved? So let's begin once again. The panelist, Shankari Shaktini ma'am. Please take your time.
Arion, thank you so much. Yes, trying to go back to what the panelists were saying before. I remember Daniel, when you were talking about, well, you were talking about Lucifer, and I said because I'm coming from Catholic background, my family is very Catholic, and I used to go to church and everything. So the because I want to link it that with what Mr. Chabra said. Lucifer, it is It is the start of the dawn, and it is the start of the dawn. It was the preferred son of God. He was the most intelligent, the most beautiful. He was the most beautiful angel, full of qualities, full of feature, positive things. Lucifer means the brightest one. And this name, which is in Latin, means the light of the morning. In Spanish, we say lucero del alba, which comes from Latin, lucero del alba. This is Lucifer. This light in the morning is the first light that comes in the darkness, and it is beautiful for everyone whenever we see it. So the metaphor about this star come down, it was why. This is the reason that we have to search in the ethical vision. What was wrong? He was full of feature. He was the preferred son of his father. What happening? And what is said is that he was full of soberb. He wanted to become more than his own father. He was full of arrogance. And this is what is written in the Puranas of Hinduism. In Hinduism, we have a lot of tales, we could say tales, ancient texts that are telling us which are the fight between a demon with a deva or a devi. One which is very famous is the Ravana against Rama, or Rama against Ravana. Ravana was full of qualities. He was very clever, very intelligent. He was beautiful. See the similarity with Lucifer? He was ready to conquer the world, and he was wanting to do it. So what makes the difference then between, if we want to say, between an angel and a demon? What we could say in Hindu, in the Sanskrit terms, Asura and Devata. Asura and Devata, it is a mythological answering for human needs. And in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the scripture that gather all the knowledge of the Vedas, in the 16th chapter, as Mr. Chabra was giving us the reference very well, because I actually have the same. But to see the three first sloka, he's mentioning only, let make a wider view. The 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is mentioned about the nature of divine destiny or demoniac or evil destiny, we could say. So the three first sloka, the three first paragraph, are talking about the features of a divine nature. See, I just mentioned few of them. The pure of character, the stability in the knowledge and yoga, generosity, domain of oneself, the sacrifice, the study of the self, asceticism, and righteousness in the morality. From 4, 5, and 6, he is describing which are the features of an asuric nature, evil nature, hypocrisy, arrogance, pride, anger, ignorance. These are the features of someone who has the nature of asuric. And it is said in the 7, it is said the asuric creature, no, sorry, in the 8th one, the asuric creature considering this world without a law, divine law. That is when we want mentioning, because I think the Islamic vision, the Quran vision also was telling us that there is no free will. And we could say it in Hinduism, because we believe in karma. I know many people ask me, no, you don't have free will then. And I say, no, see, we have free will to decide what is good and what is bad, but our scripture is telling us what is good and what is bad. And they are telling us, see, there is a role for everyone. There is a law that you have to follow. There is no someone, God is very busy to be just judging everyone, I think. So there is just a law for everything. And if you commit negative things, you will receive negative things. So these creatures, they consider in this world without a law, without religious basis, as they were mentioning before. Religare means to reconnect, to be linked again. Without God, just measure because of the hazard, no law, and as a result of the desire. That means I, whatever I want, I can have it. Whatever I have in my life, it is because I want it. If I desire something, I just buy it. If I want something, I just go for it. I just take it. I don't consider something around. I don't consider if it is good to just steal this. It is that for me. So in the according to the question that we are having, um, yeah, we have a description about this devil, about this asuric, this demoniac figure, which is, for me, it's very linked with the Christian vision in that sense. And see, and also would like to mention that we identify Lucifer with the Jupiter, and Jupiter. Why? Because we have to think about the Roman time in which this tradition started to be growing up. I mean, this confession is starting to growing up, and the Jupiter on that time, it was the astrology had a very big influence on that time. And we already know that it was the start of previous uh, order in the universe, and it's called the fallen star because it was a previous star. It was now a dark star which is far away than before, and it's make change all around. It was a chaos when it happening. So all this fun and interesting to evaluate it, because we have to think how the human mind assume that circumstances, assume to interpretate and to try to understand what is the higher reality of God. Because we all accept that there is a need for a higher reality, there is a need to find the divine and the divinity in us. We all accept it. We all search in any moment of our life. I could say that whenever, even the people who doesn't believe in anything, when they are close to that moment, they started to try to find for something, because there is lack of, there is a lack of, they feel lost, and they started to think and try to find how to be linked with something else. So all these scriptures are mentioning about see, the hypocrisy, sober, and what it was mentioned by Mr. Chabra. There is three doors. Is in the same chapter of the Bhagavad Gita in the 16th. There is three doors who condemned you to the hell. But it's not, for us, the hell is not a place where you can locate with Google Map. The hell is in yourself, in your mind. It's mentioned very good about this Upanishad when it is mentioned that the hell and the heaven is in your mind. It could be your enemy or your friend. Also, the Bhagavad Gita is telling to you that man could be your enemy or your friend, your soul, because if you are not linked with your soul, your mind will be a hell. If you don't understand Atman, the manifestation, we could say in a simple way, it is the manifestation of God in yourself. Whenever you're trying to connect with your Atman, trying to realize it, avoiding the external world to find it, then we say the Atman become your friend. Then you calm down and you understand the thing in a different way. So he said about this, only the mind can make you freedom, can give you the freedom, or can make you a slave. Because if you're attached to the object, you will be a slave. All the objects, all the things. And in the scriptures, in the Vedic scripture, we say that you should not be attached. Your happiness, your stability should not be attached to thing, to person, or to circumstances. You have to keep the mind in calm. And he said very well, the main cause of suffering is the ignorance. But what kind of ignorance? Because I can be ignorance about how to cook, or I can be ignorance about mathematics. No, we talk about what we call paravidya. Paravidya means the ultimate knowledge or science, and this is only referring about the divinity. There is a knowledge that every single human being needs beyond everything we have to learn for computer science, counting, whatever we need to manage our daily life. But there is a knowledge that it can be also called philosophy, it can be called religion, it can be ideology of the self, but we need that kind of science to develop higher reality. And he said avidya. And this avidya, when there is ignorance, then you create the suffering. And these are in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali mentioned that there is a five kleshas, five sufferings of the mind, which is avidya the first, and avidya is the cause of asmita, the ego, in the sense of I am the one who is doing that, I am the doctor, I'm the one who is performing this action, I am the son. Whenever you identify yourself with any role in your life, you are expecting something back to you. But what happened whenever you have to stop to be a doctor? What happened whenever you stop to being a son? What are you going to believe? To what are you attached to? He said, avidya, asmita, raganduesha. That means what I desire, what I reject. I like this, no, I don't like this. I suffer if you give me this. And I enjoy if you give me that other thing. And abhinivesha, which means the fear about death. Swami Tilak, which was the guru of my guru, Swami Shankar Tilak, he said to him, and today it's reached to me because of our school, of our institution, that you have to learn how to die every single day. You have to know how to make the role and the action die every single day during the night. And then the day will come again. And it's like a rebirth. You have another chance. So I think this will be my answer. If we want to talk about if there is evil figures in the scriptures, there are, like Rakshasas and some other figures in the Vedic scriptures. And but I think it's too deep to talk in this conversation. But it's very interesting how we can have how the scriptures are
Uh,
depicting us about evil
Excuse me,
figures.
Shaktini ma'am, sorry to interrupt, but I think your audio is getting lower. Can you check it once?
Yeah, it's better now.
Is it
Hello?
just me? Low, right? We cannot. Yes.
You
Please try
cannot do?
speaking once again.
Yeah.
We can hear, but it's very low. Anyway, yeah, we can hear.
Okay. Anyway, for me, this is my answer to the second question, and I will call back. So I will try to connect again. Okay.
Okay. Now your audio is back. We can hear
Oh,
you
really?
clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then it's enough. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing many things. I really like how our Shaktini ma'am tries to relate and connect with all the other answers and with all the other panelists. So, yes. So she told us about how in the scripture of Hinduism there are features and characters like asuras and devtas, which is again dealing with the good side as well as the evil side. And as the Hinduism believes in karma, so what one receives is based on what they do. So breaking the law will give naturally to negative result, and keeping the law results in positivity. And she also mentioned how there is always a need for us to find the higher divinity in us. And scriptures talks about heaven and hell, but it is all in the mind. She also was supplementing whatever our the other Hinduism panelist, Mr. Anurag Chabra, was also sharing. And what is important is this mind is the thing which can either give us freedom or either can enslave us. But the reason why scripture is given to us is once again to free us from this kind of slavery. So always there is a need for us to find the truth, and that's where the importance of scriptures comes into play. So from the second question, after listening from all the panelists, we can see that every scripture talks about the existence of evil or existence of the resistance. And it is the scripture itself which is talking about how important it is to transcend or to overcome all these limitations and the resistance and find the truth. So from the next question, let's try to figure out what can be done to overcome from this evil component based on the scripture. So the third question, in your scripture, is there any record about what believers can do for overcoming or being free from the hindrance of enemies or evil beings? Once again, let's begin with some panelists. Shankari Shaktini ma'am. Yes, you can take your time.
Yes, about the third question we are dealing with in that occasion. Um, There is something which is very important for us in Hinduism, which is related always about the action. We mentioned a little bit about the karma and the result of the karmas. And me and Mr. Chabra, we were already saying about that the suffering and the freedom becomes into the mind. So, on that sense, if you ask this query in which you are saying, what is the guidance for the believers? I like so much the example that Mr. Basena gave about the Bible is a map, how to reach to one point, and then everyone has to walk his own path to reach there. So actually, it is happening the same in the scriptures as all the religion. It is like that. It's a very good example. And how to avoid the evil influences. It is always, from the Vedic point of view, is always related to the action and what and what I was mentioning before. There is a free will for deciding which are going to be your next action. And action is not only whatever you are directly doing, but it's starting in your thought. A thought, it is already an action, and it's coming a second step whenever you speak about that. And the most impression, which is going to be attached to your karma, to the action and reaction, is in your properly action, what you have done finally. So how to manage it? That if whenever you identify a negativeness, this feature that all of us in all the confession we can identify, like evil influence or negative thoughts about stealing, about angerness, about jealousy, about envy, all these things, all of us, we have the power to identify them, and we have them the power to stop them. For that, you just need philosophy and belief. And all the scriptures in Vedic tradition is saying to us that you have to conquer yourself, you have to conquer your mind in order to be a friend with the Atman, and then realize the nature of the self in yourself. As we were mentioning, no, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, on that sloka that Mr. Chabran pointed out in his PowerPoint, that there is a triple door to the hell. This door, it is the hate, it is the anger. This is the main one, we could say. But it's also about the desire. Whenever the desire not under control, is giving us frustration. And it is the greed, he said. So these three doors, when we cross one of them, then we can be lost into the hell of our mind. And Swami Shivananda, this is something that my guru used to tell me, that see, if you allow that the anger domain you, then Swami Shivananda said, my guru refers to Swami Shivananda teaching, no? Whenever the krodha, the anger domain you, your astral body receive a break in make a break in his structure. It means you will lose a lot of energy. After an anger, everyone feels like very decayed and not feeling well with oneself. All of us, we have experienced that. So if we are able to control ourselves, identify that this krodha, this anger is coming, and stop it with time, domaining ourselves, observing and recognizing that we are the result, as we was mentioning in the beginning, we are the result of a double nature in us, evilness and divine nature. Both of them are in us, like in the world outside. So if we recognize that, then we have given a very big step. This chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is continued by saying that you have to follow the regulation of the scriptures. It is in the sloka 24. Tasmachastram pramanante. By the regulation of the scripture, one should understand what is the duty and what is not the duty, what should be done and what should not be done. So the scripture is telling to you all the time, what is the frame for the Hinduism confession or the Sanatana Dharma? We have the one which is very similar with Buddhism. It is a Dharma, means religion, recognition that there is a law, the scripture already mentioned. Dharma, Guru, and Sangha. For the Buddhists, they say Buddha, because Buddha is the Guru of the Buddhist. For Hinduism, you need someone who's a mentor who can guide you, help you. I think I have explained it before in another meeting that Guru, the word Guru means the one who gives you light over the darkness. Light we understand in Vedic tradition as Vidya, science, Paravidya, over the darkness of the ignorance, what these are actually making us suffer. So you need a guru, you need a mentor who guide you in this path, but you need Sangha. Sangha means you need to have a good relationship with people who has kind of similar thinking to make a satsang. Sangha can make, you can make a Sangha with, any gather is a Sangha, any gathering of people, but satsanga means a meeting of people who are searching for truth. This will help you to keep this light on you. And if you go to the scriptures, after Bhagavad Gita is saying, you will find the yamas and niyamas, you will find other regulation to keep your mind under control. And all of these are talking about are the same, they have the coincidence with the Quran rules, with the Christian rules about say the truth, do not steal, keep domain of yourself, keep socha, keep purity of your daily day. So he's talking about the self-discipline and an ethical behavior inside of the society. These both aspects of our life, self-discipline and ethical behavior with the society, will help you in this path. So that is why Mr. Chavra mentioned about the sadhana. You need the sadhana to increase the power of your mind, to increase the Devic knowledge, the divine knowledge, sorry, presence in the daily routine in yourself. So that's why we do prayings and then we meditate to try to keep this awareness, this consciousness of self being, of the divinity in ourselves, for doing what we have to do every day, like going to the supermarket, going to the job, going to cooking, be with the family. But we need to do sadhana. We have to keep an space in our daily day to reconnect with this truth, which is always there. So this will help us to keep the demons of our mind. This is very funny how the Christian represent. It's like the demon talking to you and the angel talking to you. So recognize which messages are coming from the demon side, and then calm down, see this is not good, and then make the angel inside of you to say, see, instead of being to develop hypocrisy or arrogant, I will try to be more humble. I will try to develop another attitude. So I hope this kind of meeting helped to make confession closer, trying to find the common points. What I think it's really useful for people to reconnect or recover or to start to have faith and a trust in religion, because actually the objective of the religion is not to divide, but to join the humanity for finding peace, what I think is the aim of all of us. Thank you so much.
Now I want to call Shankari Shaktini from Hinduism. Ma'am, please, you can take your time.
Thank you so much. I again and again going to thankful for this organization of this kind of meeting, interconfessional meeting, to share and develop mutual and common points in order to help people to enhance knowledge about themselves and about the divinity. I really expect for such kind of meeting that is useful for the people who is attending, and they can apply in their daily life. And hopefully we can keep having this kind of meeting and keep having more understanding between human beings. Thank you so much for the your kind invitation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your impression.